Reframing Academic Leadership by Lee G. Bowman and Joanne V. Gallows. The question we are left with now is, what even is leadership? Leadership is actually the skill of being able to influence and guide people or organizations. Throughout this particular book, we learn how important having leadership is and how having the skill of leadership can help you throughout the tricky times in life. Next are the authors. So this book has two authors. The first one is Lee Bowman. So who is Lee? Well, he was born in 1941 in New York, which today that would make him 83 years old. So he lived a pretty long lifetime, and throughout this lifetime, well, he's currently still living. But he has served as an author, a speaker, a professor, which he was a professor of leadership and organization studies. He currently now lives in Brooklyn and Stockbridge, Massachusetts. He lives with his wife, Joanne, which is actually the other author of the book. They have a dog, which is a Springer Spaniel, and his name is Charles Darwin. They also have 6 children and 3 grandchildren, which are all scattered across America. Now, moving on to the next author, which is Joanne V. Gallows. Who is Joanne? Well, of course, she is Lee's wife, but other than that, she is way more. She was born in 1951, which means that she is now 73 years old. So her and Lee are actually 10 years apart. Kind of wonder how they met with that far of an age gap. Well, Joanne has served as a professor, an author, academic leader, and a researcher. She is also a lover of the arts, as she sees its potential in it and wonders how its creativity can put an effect on us people and the world. Now we move on to how these authors are actually qualified to write such a book about leadership. Leadership is a very huge role, and to be able to write about it, you have to yourself go through leadership roles to understand the actual concept of being a leader and how to gain that skill. So first we have Joanne, and Joanne has achieved a lot of things over time. She has led academic affairs at a private. She led an executive MBA program from deficit to profitability. She served as Dean of Education. She was Director of Higher Education at graduate programs. Also, she was president of an international professional association and leader of campus strategic planning. Next is Lee. What qualifies Mr. Ballman? For starters, he served as educational chair of summer executive programs. He was principal investigator on federally funded research initiatives. He was also a professor and Marion Bloch / Missouri chair in leadership at Bloch School of Management. Moving on, now that we have talked about the authors and we know that they are qualified and very credited to be writing about leadership roles. So we're going to move on to the main leadership points. Lee and Joanne summarized this book into 5 main leadership points. These leadership points are: number 1, crafting dynamic institutions where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Number 2, creating campus environments that facilitate creativity and commitment. Number 3, forging alliances and partnerships in service of the mission. Number 4, building shared vision and campus cultures that unite and inspire. And number 5, serving the larger goals of the academy and society. So, once they stated their 5 points, they moved on to separating the book into 3 different parts. Each different parts can be seen as being a theory. So they created 3 main theories, which these they believed can help you become a great leader and can help you grow towards being that high role of adapting the skill of leadership. So, the 3 main theories that they had added in this book are: part 1, leadership epistemology; part 2, reframing leadership challenges; part 3, sustaining higher education leaders. Once they stated those 3 theories, they now moved on to having messages that supported these theories. In the book, there are many, many, many different messages that they provided, although there are some that are more important as others. So I have added 4 of the more important ones to me. So number 1, we have the way us as people come to understand how the world can limit the way people think and how they make their choices. Next is the main way of learning is through experiences of relationships with others. Next we have it is hard and very important to remember that when we manage people, you have to be creative at all times, and you have to have that commitment that you want to lead them and you want to help them become better people themselves. And then lastly, we have being a leader, you have to include the spiritual dimensions too. So you have to include faith, calling, and a deep sense of self as essentials for steering academic institutions and programs to greatness. There is always a spiritual side to the way people feel. So being a great leader, you have to think about that side too, and not just the main subjects. After reading this book, you can take a lot away from it. But there are a few things that you can take away that are most beneficial than others. So, a few of the things that I think are most beneficial to becoming a leader are these few. You always need to listen to the feelings of the people you are leading. If you don't listen to their personal feelings, then they may not feel heard, they may not feel understood, they may not feel cared for. In the end, they may just feel like you just do not care about how they feel, which is not a good leadership role. Next, you have to see the people as more than just a human. Everybody is more than a human. Now you can see this as many different ways, but the gist of it is that you're human and you have a deeper meaning inside of your human body. Next, we have to treat everyone equally and provide the same care and compassion to everyone. So definitely being a great leader will always treat everyone equal, no matter, let's say, no matter their sexuality, no matter their race, no matter their beliefs, no matter anything. A good leader will provide the same care and understanding to everyone. And then lastly, you always want to think like a leader that wants to help others. So if you don't have that thought in your mind that you want to help others and you want to help them grow, then you will not be a good leader. A leader has to always want to help others and make them better themselves. What do I think was great in this book? I would definitely say the most important thing that is great about this book is the way that Joanne and Lee organized it. While you're reading, it starts off with the reason that they wrote the book, and then it explains how the book is set up. And then it goes into the part 1, part 2, part 3, and in those you have your different chapters that explain all the, that explain and add real world situations to their main points, which is very helpful. Next would be emphasizing the main points. So Joanne and Lee emphasize what they really want us to take away from reading a lot. And they keep repeating and repeating in each chapter, like, what it is to be a leader. And then lastly, they added real-world cases for support to their statements, which provides the evidence, it provides backup, and it provides more explanation as to why these points are good points to help you become a leader. Would you recommend to others? Personally, I would definitely recommend this book. It is a very easy understanding book, outlined greatly, provides great information, but it is definitely written for those people who care a lot about higher authority and want those strengths in becoming leadership and having those leadership skills. And that is it. Thank you.